Hey guys, Joseline'S Cabaret California episode 8 review slash recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. So the episode starts where the last one ended. Neek knocks Dani off the stage, and this is right after Joseline said that she wanted to do a 48-hour rule where nobody could fight. If anybody fight during the 48 hours, they're going home. But when she said it, Neek and 3 other people were not present yet. So I don't think Neek is going to go home for this because she didn't hear it. So they broke it up immediately. Erica was telling Joseline, like, Neek didn't hear what you said. Neek didn't hear what you said. They kind of took Neek in the back, and Dani was just standing there looking stupid with her black eye. And she said in her confessional, yeah, I might have got punched off the stage, but I eat those punches. Then Joseline calls Isis up and she's like, yeah, so tell me why you feel like you could disrespect me. And Isis was telling Joseline, like, I don't feel like I disrespect you. I just don't allow you to disrespect me and walk all over me. I'm not a little girl. I might be small, but I'm 29 years old. Like, I'm not going to keep allowing you to talk crazy to me. And then she also told Joseline, you always try to say that we using you. How am I using you when I've done shows for free and I didn't get paid? Joseline was like, you always got paid. And Isis was like, no, I didn't. I didn't get paid for the Fort Lauderdale show. Joseline asked Melissa, and Melissa was like, yeah, Isis didn't get paid, but it was because, like, we couldn't find a form of payment to give her. Like, her Zelle wasn't working, her Cash App wasn't working, this, that, and the third. But Isis was saying, I provided Apple Pay and other types of payments, and I have the receipts. And Joseline was basically saying Isis is with a bank that nobody knows, and she's disconnected from the world, and that's why she didn't get paid for that one show. So from there, Joseline told Isis she was eliminated. Isis didn't care, and she was like, okay, and she started walking off. I feel like Joseline was mad because Isis didn't care. Like, she didn't say nothing. She didn't give no pushback. She was just walking out. So then Joseline started popping shit like, yeah, get out of here, you raggedy hoe, you ungrateful bum bitch. So Isis was turning around trying to pop her shit back, but the security was pushing her out. And that was the end of Isis. We got her outro. She's done for the season. She probably won't be back on the show. Overall, I would say that this season I didn't really like Isis, especially how she interacted with the other girls. I feel like she was becoming a part of that OG clique with Dani and Andrea. But what I have always liked about her is how she stood back up to Joseline, and she wouldn't really just let Joseline talk to her too crazy. So, I could take her or leave her. So after Isis leaves, Joseline turns around and she's like, yeah, so who want to go next? And Ricardo was like, well, I know somebody who needs to go because they're a liability. And he basically said, I love, but she need to go. She's a liability. Her health concerns is too much, and I don't got time for her to be falling out or passing out on stage. So Joseline asked Love what was going on with her health. She was telling Joseline about the holes in her heart and all that stuff. And Joseline was like, okay, so there's the door. So Love just walked out. She did her outro, and I doubt we'll see her ever again either. She didn't need to be on the show, so it is what it is. She literally said in her outro she's not built for this. She's not good with discipline. She's not strong or healthy. So I don't know why she came on the show in the first place. But whatever. Bye, Love. So after Love leaves, Joseline calls Neek back out because remember the security had took Neek backstage. When Neek came back on stage, Dani was like, I forgive you. And Neek was like, F you. So Joseline told Neek to come to the middle and explain why she hit Dani like that. And Neek was like, Dani spoke about my kid's situation on social media. She knew that would get her dragged. She always popping shit on the internet, and that's why she stayed getting beat up. Now, I don't know if Neek is talking about the situation she told us about last season as far as her having the miscarriage, or if she's talking about something else. But either way, speaking on somebody's children, pregnancies, whatever, is off limits and definitely warrants you getting your ass whipped. And Dani sounds stupid in her confessional. She like, oh, now Neek is mad about me talking about her kids 8 months ago. She know not to play with me on the internet because I'll fly in her DMs. It don't matter how long ago you talked about her kids. You're admitting that you did it, so you deserve to get your ass whooped. Then Joseline was calling Chinks to the middle, and T-Love had kind of stepped up. Joseline told T-Love to back up. And then Joseline was like, Chinks, you're 6 feet tall. Why you keep fighting a 5'2" bitch? And Chinks was like, I don't understand what y'all don't get. She tried to spit on me. And T-Love was like, okay, so what? We had our round. It don't matter. And Joseline was like, no, T-Love, that was nasty. And you a gutter bitch. And Chinks basically said in her confessional that she would rather somebody attempt to shoot at her than spit at her. And Joseline was like, yeah, T-Love, you spit on her. She got mad at you. And you got dirty, so she got dirtier. And that's why you got snuck. So that's the end of it. And she told Chinks to go back. Go back to the line. So then Dad said, oh, you forgot somebody, basically saying Joseline forgetting to send somebody home. And Joseline was like, who? And Dad said Big Bird. And they was talking about Kaniyah because she had on this yellow outfit. So Kaniyah stepped up and she was just like ignoring what all the girls were saying and just speaking directly to Joseline. And she was like, I want to be here. I want to dance in a cabaret. I don't have management. I don't have a label. Basically saying I'm not tied to no record label and I don't have a pimp like Lexi and Chinks. And she said, before I came to the show, I was just at the BET Awards independently on my own. And she said she performed. So I guess maybe she did like the pre-show or something, or the BET experience, something that probably wasn't televised. But it's still a step in the right direction if you want to be a musician, especially to do it on your own independently with no help. So Joseline said congratulations, but I'm like, Kaniyah's not realizing that might backfire on her because Joseline likes to do music as well. And I low-key feel like that's why last season she got mad when she found out Lexi did music. This season she acting like she don't care when the girls say they do music. But I feel like somebody saying like, oh, I've been to the BET Awards, that might be a little bit too much for Joseline, because I don't think Joseline has ever performed at any BET Award experience or anything like that. She might have been invited to the awards to sit in the audience, but she's never called to be a performer for any part of the BET Award weekend. So we'll see if Joseline continues to like Kaniyah or not. But Erica said, you know, she feel like Kaniyah thinks she's better than them and she's not better than nobody here. So then Des was asking Kaniyah, can you go up the pole at least? And Kaniyah was like, yeah, I can go up the pole and I can dance. And Des was like, okay, so can we see something? And Kaniyah was like, no. Like, I'm not here to audition for y'all. I already got picked by Joseline for some reason. So she clearly already saw Kaniyah dance, whether it was a video audition or whatever. And she decided to pick her. So she like, no, I'm not auditioning for y'all bitches. And I got on a nice outfit right now. Y'all will see me dance when it's time for us to all dance together. But Joseline already saw what she needed to see for me to be here. I'm not here to impress y'all bitches. So I kind of felt where she was coming from in that moment. Like, this episode, Kaniyah did certain things that I did like, but then she would do something in the next scene that would throw me off. So from there, Joseline calls like all the OG girls up except for Egypt and Chinks. And she basically was telling all the OGs minus Egypt and Chinks, like, y'all my bitches, I love y'all, fuck them other hoes, I don't really care about them like that, I don't know them like that. And I was laughing low-key because I'm like, okay, for the newbies, that's nothing, because they know, like, Joseline don't know them like that and they not OGs. But for Egypt and Chinks to get left out of this conversation, I felt bad for them a little bit. So she was telling all of these people that she had standing around her, Lexi, Oceans, Dani, Andrea, Neek, Des, Erica, T-Love, that she loved them and they her family and they all needed to give her a hug. So Dani and Andrea both started crying, and Andrea was like, I'm so sorry, Joseline, I should have slid her, basically still talking about how she should have fought Hennessy back in New York on episode 1, which Joseline is still mad at Dani and Andrea about. You know, she's mad because Oceans was the only one who fought for her. So Andrea is crying about that and apologizing. Just stupid. So from there, Joseline was like, okay, I think I eliminated enough ladies for tonight. Let me pick the ladies who are going to be in the video. So she picks in this order: Erica, Oceans, Neek, Des, T-Love, Lexi, Sky, and then Egypt. And I will say that this episode, I wasn't particularly feeling any of the newbies that much, but I did give Sky one of my most valuable newbies simply because she was the only newbie who got picked for the video. So then Joseline asked Andrea and Dani, like, you know why y'all not in the video, right? And Andrea was like, because I ain't shit and I'm bottom of the barrel. These girls got such low self-esteem. It's really sad, honestly.
Draya and Dani, do you know why you're not here?
Yes.
Why?
Because I ain't shit and I'm bottom of the barrel.
Right. That's why you're not going to be on I Like the Way You Are video.
But clearly Joseline said in her confessional, you know, she know this is going to drive Dani and Andrea crazy. She's punishing them because she's still mad that they didn't have her back in New York. They should have fought Hennessy. It shouldn't have only been Oceans. Like I said, Joseline wanted them to just turn around and jump Hennessy, even though Dani and Andrea actually was cool with Hennessy. Obviously, it was easy for Oceans to do that because her and Hennessy was never cool. But the fact that she wanted Dani and Andrea at the drop of a dime to just turn on Hennessy and jump her when they actually had built a friendship with her is crazy. And now she's punishing them for it. And from there, Joseline basically said anything could change tomorrow. Some of these hoes don't have to be in the video, and maybe some of y'all can. Good night. So as of now, Chinks, Dani, Jane Doe, G Baby, Andrea, Kaniyah, and Kiara aren't in it. So from there, all of the girls who did get picked from the video were standing there jumping around singing I Like the Way You Are, you know, celebrating that they got chosen. The other girls who didn't get picked, Kaniyah, Chinks, Dani, Andrea, etc., they were either just standing there looking at them, looking miserable, or some of them just walked out. I also saw in that moment, while the girls who got chose for the video were jumping around celebrating, that Des and Sky hugged it out. So Sky is starting to get cool with all of the OGs because she's the only newbie who got picked for the video. And she's mad at all of the other newbies, clearly, besides G Baby and maybe Kiara, because they didn't jump in and help her. So then we see Ricardo meeting with all of the girls who got picked for the video. They basically having like a final practice before they go to film. And they end up just talking about all of the drama that's been going on in the house as well. But then it cuts to G Baby and Kiara talking. G Baby's asking Kiara how her shoulder is, but then Jane Doe and Kaniyah come in to join them. So G Baby asked Jane Doe and Kaniyah how they felt about the party yesterday, and Jane Doe was like, I don't know what happened. We was all partying, having a good time. Then the music got quiet and everything went left. And Kaniyah was like, yeah, and I don't understand how it turned to having something to do with me. Like, people want me to go home. And she was like, I already told Sky why I didn't jump in. And on top of that, I did apologize to her. But she said, the more I think about it, the more I feel like I did the right thing by not jumping in. So G Baby started getting mad, and she was like, Isis ran up on me while I was injured, and Sky made sure she ran up on that bitch, and y'all didn't do nothing when they all started jumping Sky. And Kaniyah was just like, yeah, I did nothing. And G Baby was like, okay, so fuck you. And Kaniyah was like I said, I'm standing 10 toes on why I didn't jump in. G Baby was like, we would have fucked with you if you did. But like I said, G Baby, you was literally doing handstands on the last episode, on episode 7 at the pool party. So at this point, I feel like you could have helped Sky a little bit more than you did. You could have swung with one arm, bitch. I don't care. You didn't even fight back when Isis and Oceans was hitting you on the steps. You was acting like you was completely immobile, like you just couldn't move and you was just so disabled. But then 2 days later, you doing handstands? Stop playing with me. And then Kaniyah was basically saying in her confessional, like, yeah, when we first came in here, the newbies did make a pact that we was all going to have each other back. But as we got in the house, Sky and G Baby don't even talk to me. They don't go out with me. They don't get breakfast with me. They don't hang out with me. And she was like, they don't even know my name. They always calling me Kiana. But then when y'all getting jumped and now y'all want us to be acting like we friends. No, we not friends. And y'all just want me to rely on the pact that we made on day 1 when we came in the house. So it's like, I kind of get both sides. It's like, Kaniyah, you should have never agreed to the pact. But at the same time, G Baby and Sky, if y'all wanted to say, okay, all the newbies gonna stick together, then that means all the newbies should have also been hanging out. You should have been getting to know all the newbies. You should have been spending time with each other so that y'all could actually be a newbie clique and stick to y'all pact. And then, like I said, Kaniyah, you should have either stuck to the pact that you made, or you should have never made it. Or you should have either just told them, like, I don't really feel like we vibing. I don't really see us hanging out like that. I am cool with some of the other OGs now. So I just want to let y'all know, like, that newbie pact that we made at the beginning, we might not be sticking to that because we really not friends. Like, we not developing a friendship like we clearly thought we was on day 1. So then it cuts back to the scene with Ricardo and the girls, and T-Love was talking about Chinks and basically saying that, you know, at first Chinks just told Egypt she wanted her ones, but at this point she feel like Chinks want a storyline. Really, it seemed like T-Love, you wanted a storyline. You started all of this by saying Chinks didn't have a storyline last season, jumping in for Lexi's beef with Chinks that had nothing to do with you. You took it further than Lexi and spit on Chinks. Now it don't even look like Lexi and Chinks really beefing, and you and Chinks is the ones with the beef. Like, you took over Lexi's beef with Chinks. And then you the one who keep going at Chinks and bringing it up. Even at the pool party, Chinks wasn't thinking about you. You stepped to the middle of the circle talking about, oh, do anybody got smoke with me? Knowing she's the only person you've had beef with all season. Like, you the one who's looking for storylines and camera time and keep using y'all beef for camera time. Because Natural is sick. So now you can't use Natural no more. So you had to find something else. Then Neek was saying, yeah, and then I heard Egypt crushed her in the bushes. And then Erica was saying, yeah, and me and Kiana got into something. And they was like, who? And they was like, oh, Kaniyah. And Erica was like, yeah, I don't remember her name, sorry. And Egypt was like, yeah, she's just not memorable. Nobody remembers her name. Now, mind you, Kaniyah said that the reason she didn't jump in for Sky was because she was cool with Lexi and Isis. Isis is gone, but Lexi is standing right here while Erica and Egypt are saying Kaniyah's not memorable. Nobody remembers her name, this, that, and the third. So you think she your friend, and she's really not your friend anyway. So then they cut back to this scene, and Kaniyah was basically saying, yeah, G Baby, you always calling me Kiana, you always calling me Kiantra, so why would you think I'm gonna have your back? Like, clearly as everything's unfolding, we really not friends like that. Why would you think I'm sticking to that pact? And Jane Doe was like, listen, Kaniyah, you got a smart mouth, you always pop your shit, you always talk your shit back, but you can't think you're gonna walk around here like a little princess and you're not gonna get touched. And Kaniyah basically says she don't feel like she's untouchable. The girls feel like she's untouchable because she's verbally saying she doesn't want to fight. And Jane Doe basically said in her confessional, you know, Kaniyah always popping shit, but then when people ask her if she want to fight, she say no. Maybe she should just be quiet. And then she told Kaniyah to her face, you know, if you keep talking shit but saying you don't want to fight, you taking the chances that bitches are going to sneak you. Kaniyah said, okay, you know, security, get the big bad wolves away. So she was basically saying, like, you know, she's not going to fight. She's going to call for security. But clearly that's not always an option at Zeus. So like I said, if somebody hits her, she's clearly going to have to defend herself. So Joseline arrives to the video shoot and she's meeting up with Des Gray, who's the director. She also directed the Domino video. And Joseline was like, you know, we meet again. I had to get you to do my video again. But she said, let me know right now, is it going to be air conditioning in there because I'm hot already? Now, if you know anything about Joseline, it has been said that she sweats a lot. This is stuff that some of the Cabaret girls have said on live. Girls who have either left the show and were mad at Joseline and might have now returned. They said she sweats a lot, and they've also said that she doesn't wear deodorant for like health reasons, or like she just tries to do like natural stuff, like to, you know, deal with the smell. But she doesn't wear like commercial deodorant with all the aluminum and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's very important to her that she sweats as little as possible. So Des basically told Joseline, you know, this is really going to be a rustic vibe like you wanted it to be. And there is no air conditioning except in your room. So I guess like in Joseline's dressing room, there will be air conditioning, but that's it. Where she'll actually be filming, where all the hot lights are over her head, there will not be AC. So Melissa started like making calls and was like, okay, you know, I'll get us a portable AC in here, like where they're going to actually be filming. Because Joseline was like, yeah, I can't go for that. And she was like joking around with Des and she was like, I'm going to fuck your bitch ass up. Like, you know, I don't play with the heat. And Jocelyn was like, I don't care if we had to change the video date to next week or next month. I would have not agreed to film if I knew that the AC situation was going to be like this. So then we see Kiara going to check on Natural. Like I said, I don't dislike Kiara necessarily, but I just feel like her and Jane Doe kind of don't really have storylines. They just go around the house and have conversations with people who have storylines and have drama. Like, they just ask them questions and like give commentary, but they don't really have anything going on for themselves. So Natural was like, I shouldn't have ate that shit. I got food poisoning. She's talking about, the stuff that Jocelyn had them eat at the Fear Factor challenge. Natural's been fucked up since then. She says she's been shitting, throwing up, depressed, sad, crying, and, it's not getting better. So Kiara's catching Natural up on everything she's missed. Isis and Love are eliminated. All the fights that happened at the pool party. Neek versus Dani. Andrea versus Love. T-Love versus Egypt. T-Love and Egypt versus Chinks. So Natural handled most of the news that Kiara was telling her well. The only thing she was kind of sad about was Isis leaving because she said Isis is her girl. But, she handled it well. But once Kiara told her that Jocelyn had picked the girls for the I Like the Way You Are video and that they were filming today, she started crying and she was sad. And she was like, I feel like I'm eliminating myself because I'm sick. I should have just not participated in that challenge. Kiara always said in her confessionals, child. But yeah, Natural was crying. Kiara said she felt bad. And Natural was like, I'm still not feeling good, so I'm about to go back to bed. But thank you for coming to check on me. Kiara walks out. Natural puts her blanket back over her head. So now we seeing all of the girls who got chosen to be in the video getting on the sprinter and then on their way to the video shoot. T-Love says she's happy that Jocelyn chose the girls that she chose. She feels like everybody who was picked deserves to be in the video. So Erica was saying, she's excited. This is her second video with Jocelyn, and she was asking Lexi how she feels because of what happened last season. So basically, she was talking about how last season Lexi got picked for the Domino video, but then when they got there, Andrea basically told Lexi, like, oh, Jocelyn actually wants you to go home. And Lexi said, yeah, that was because of Dirty Dan. Really, it was because of Dani and Andrea, because they were a duo at that time, and they were definitely moving together. But now you guys like Andrea, so I guess we're going to just put it all on Dani. And I just felt like Erica was low-key being shady towards Lexi for even bringing that up. And in her confessional, Erica was like, yeah, Lexi had a little hater last season, but hopefully she's able to do her big one this time. Then they asked Sky how she was feeling. She said she was a little nervous. And Egypt was like, but you should feel good about it because you're the only newbie here. So that means you shining and you standing out compared to all the other new girls. And you could tell that Lexi was even being cool with Sky now. She was like, oh, you nervous as hell, huh? Like laughing with her. So like I said, I guess now all the OGs are kind of taking her in because they see that she's the newbie that Jocelyn likes. And Sky is also clearly forgiving all of the OGs for jumping her because she wants to be a part of this Cabaret sisterhood. So then it cuts to Dani. We see her tanning, and she basically says she was tanning to try to even out the black eyes. And then Andrea comes out with some drinks, and she's like, oh, hey, Dani, like, I wanted to talk to you because they fought at the beginning of the season, and they've kind of been on opposite sides of the house since then. So when Andrea came down to give Dani the drink, she was like, oh, don't worry, I didn't poison it. And Dani was like, yeah, you drink it first. So Andrea called herself apologizing to Dani, and she was like, I shouldn't have let everything that was going on in the heat of the moment distract me from what is really going on because I feel like I've always chose you. And basically saying that, her friendship with Dani and her relationship with Jocelyn should have been her number one priority. And in her confessional, Dani was like, no, Andrea did kind of leave me behind. Because that's what I'm saying. Andrea clearly started getting cool with all the other girls more than Dani did. And she low-key was choosing all those other girls over Dani, which is why she started repeatedly fighting Dani. And it was just weird every time they would fight. But I did kind of like Dani getting out of that clique and being able to vibe with some of the new girls. Like I said, she was kind of growing on me because I felt like we were seeing a slightly different side of her. But after this conversation with Andrea, she's going to be right back to her BS from last season. Her and Andrea are going to be freaking frack. And I'm not going to like either one of them going forward as usual. So Dani, you had a chance, but it's over. But either way, they both start crying. Dani says she forgives Andrea and she loves her. She's also sorry. Andrea apologizes as well. And they're crying, basically saying that they deserve to be at this music video more than half of the other bitches. And Andrea said, I am happy that the other girls got to go, but I just feel like none of our hard work matters because we had the one fuck up in New York by not helping her with Hennessy. Then she asked Dani how she felt about Kaniyah, but she called her Big Bird. And Dani was like, she has to go. And Dani and Andrea talking about all the sacrifices they've made and all the fights they've had, and they can't let somebody come in here and think she's just going to be untouched. So Andrea and Dani clearly plotting on Kaniyah. They feel like she thinks she's better than them. Dani saying she don't know if she's going to be able to make it through the 48 hours without fighting, so she did pack her stuff. And Andrea was like, no, you need to finish your joint and chill out. You're going to make it, unpack your stuff, because if you leave, I'm right behind you. So basically, they're going to try to make it through the 48 hours, but once that 48 hours is up, they definitely planning on going at Kaniyah. Then it cuts to Chink. She was sitting outside by herself on the balcony having a drink. Kaniyah came to join her, and she was basically like, why are you out here by yourself as always? And Chinks was like, I don't fuck with nobody here for real. And Chink said in her confessional, I don't really know Kaniyah like that, but she is a sweet, pretty girl. I can't really pass no judgment on her because we've only had a few short conversations pretty much. So when Kaniyah sat down, Chinks was like, well, I told you the girls was going to switch up on you on the bus. And Kaniyah was like, you did. So then Kaniyah asked Chinks how she was feeling after everything. And Chinks basically said she didn't really care about the fight that happened with T-Love in Egypt. She said she felt it coming from the first bus ride, just like I told y'all I did. She could tell that Egypt, T-Love, and Isis was behind Lexi, and the four of them was going to be a clique, and none of them was going to like her. So then Kaniyah was like, okay, so with all of that being said, do you still feel like Lexi is on your radar? And Chinks was like, why you keep asking me about Lexi? And she was like, I feel like Kaniyah is just dipping into my business. Because Chinks probably feel like Kaniyah is going to run back and say whatever she say to Lexi. Because Kaniyah keep running around saying how she's so cool with Lexi and Isis, even though Lexi's not saying nothing while the girls is talking shit about you when you're not there. And Chinks was basically saying she already told Lexi she need that again. Kaniyah was like, I don't know. I think Lexi might be done. And Chinks was like, I feel like you should just worry about what you got going on with the people who was trying to get you at the pool party. And Chinks is telling Kaniyah the same thing that Jane Doe was telling her. Like, I don't think you understand how this is going to go. They're not going to let you go through the house the whole season untouched. And Kaniyah said that's fine, but at the end of the day, that's really not what she's here for. She's here to dance. So like I said, it sounds like she's going to defend herself if she's touched. But she's just not going out of her way to fight because that's not her main purpose of being here. Then Kaniyah tried to say to Chinks, I feel like it's more that people could see about you and that they might like about you, but all they see is the fighting because you don't really talk. And Chinks was like, I do talk. And Chinks is one of the fan faves of this season, and she was liked on the last season, even though she didn't make it through the whole season. But this season, she's definitely standing on her own, and a lot of people feel like the girls all being against her is just making her like a main character. And like Chink said, she do talk. She talks enough. We see her in the confessionals. They put her confessionals in every episode, so she talks, but she's not going to sit in bitches' faces that she knows don't like her already, or just continue sitting around people to keep fighting them over and over again. And Chinks was like, you see what just happened to you. Now you by yourself, right? And Kaniyah was like, yeah. And Chinks was like, okay, so I'm doing the same thing. And she said in her confessional, her and Kaniyah is basically the loners of the house. So you could tell Chinks was irritated with the conversation. Unfortunately, I just think she don't like Kaniyah's approach or demeanor either. So even though they are the two loners of the house and they could have came together, I don't really see that happening. And Chinks was like, okay, any more questions? Like, are you done? And Kaniyah was like, I guess. So then Chinks walked off and she was like, and scene. From there, we see all of the girls get to the video set. Obviously, it's very hot in there like we already discussed. So we see all of them getting their hair done, their makeup done, they sweating, they trying to keep everything, together because it's so hot. And y'all know how that could be when you getting your hair done, but it's hot. So it's immediately like frying up, frizzing up. Same thing with makeup. You just got your makeup done, but now it's hot and you sweating. So they just trying to keep it together. They get their outfits on. They all basically have outfits like what we see Neek and T-Love wearing. So these hats and these black outfits. I felt like T-Love actually looks cute with hair. I don't think she might not have the face card to rock a bald look all the time. Like, she's not ugly with it, but I just think she looks better with hair. That's just my opinion. Like, Bahati was really cute with the bald head. I don't feel like T-Love is really cute with the bald head, if that makes sense. I feel like she looks better with hair. Bahati actually could go either way. She looks good with both to me. We also see Joseline getting ready, her hair and makeup. And from there, we see the girls and Joseline and Ballistic filming the I Like the Way You Are video. We're not going to talk too much about that because we've all literally seen this video, 10 times now? Because we on, episode 8 or 9 of the show. And it's the first 5 minutes of every single episode. So we've seen enough of this video. From there, after the video, we see Joseline sitting with all of the girls. And she basically said, the world knows that I always do the best by y'all. I always put y'all in the front so y'all can have y'all shine. And I feel like y'all should really be kissing my ass and licking my feet. Who's going to take what? So Egypt was saying she was going to take the ass. This person saying they going to take this. Joseline gets up and bends over. They start kissing her ass literally. I'm like, here we go with this BS. And I see they still trying to make Cabaret wasted happen like Batty Batty Shot O'Clock. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. From there, we see Jane Doe and Dani practicing, and then Kaniyah and Kiara come in, and they was like, not y'all practicing without us. And Dani was like, you already know all the moves. You already a superstar, right? You feel like you better than us? And Dani said in her confessional, Kaniyah and Kiara came in looking thick like they think they better than her, and she don't like that. And Dani was saying, you know, this is a full-time job. She's been doing this for a while. She takes it serious. And Kaniyah was like, I don't understand what makes you think I feel like I'm better than everybody. I just love who I am. And Dani basically told Kaniyah she feel like she thinks she's bigger than the program. Kaniyah said, if y'all say y'all respect Joseline and Joseline continues to keep me, then y'all should just accept it. Dani told Kaniyah, I think you should get out of here before the 48 hours is up. So she's basically telling Kaniyah, if you still here when that 48 hours is up, me and you gonna have to fight. And Jane Doe still telling Kaniyah, the girls are on it. They want you to get in the field. Jane Doe also said in her confessional that Kaniyah wasn't trying to get in the field, but she was just standing back minding her business because it has nothing to do with her. So she's basically taking the same approach that Kaniyah took. The newbie pact is out the window. You said that you didn't help Sky because y'all didn't really talk, so F the newbie pact. So Jane Doe is saying, me and Kaniyah don't really talk like that, so F the newbie pact. So from there, Dani is like, I don't want to be here. You guys got it. Have a good practice, lady. She leaves. She goes to the production, and she's basically like, I can't do this. So Dani's crashing out. She's saying she needs a break. She don't want to lose her job. She sacrificed too much to be here, and she's worried about breaking this 48-hour rule. So while Dani was out of the room, Chinks came and joined them, and she basically said, you know, she going to rehearse as much as possible because she knows she's not the best dancer, and she's trying to win this 50K. Next thing you know, Dani comes back holding a cup of water, and Andrea's behind her holding something. Dani throws her cup of water at Kaniyah, and Andrea starts throwing whatever she had at Kaniyah. It looked like it was mustard or mayonnaise, or it was something white, child. White or yellow. Maybe it was just a yellow drink. I don't know. And Andrea was like, yeah, you think you better than us? You think you better than us? And she said Dani came banging on her door saying that Kaniyah thinks she's going to leave with a wet ass and some money. And Andrea was like, oh, you already know I'm not going for that. So I came right downstairs to fight her. Yeah, I guess I am the problem. Yeah, you are the fucking problem. You and Dani insecure as fuck. And y'all just feed off each other insecurities. So once they threw the stuff at Kaniyah, she was like, okay, like, yeah, now I am going to fight. So she started walking away to tie her hair up. And she was like, I want you first, talking about Andrea, and then I want you, talking about Dani. So Kaniyah and Andrea fight. Andrea had Kaniyah in a headlock kind of, but Kaniyah was definitely swinging and she was hitting Andrea as well. It kind of was a tie, and I guess that's the problem. I think I was expecting Kaniyah to do a little bit better and really beat them up. So once they broke Kaniyah and Andrea up, Kaniyah was talking her shit. She was like, yeah, I am better than you bitches, and that's why y'all mad. You can't do shit with me like I thought. So from there, Kaniyah was like, now it's your turn. Run it again. So then Dani stepped up. Dani ends up running up on Kaniyah, and the episode cuts off there. So for Joseline's Cabaret California episode 8, my most valuable newbies was Sky and Jane Doe. But like I said, I really wasn't feeling any of the newbies fully this episode. My most valuable cabaret ladies were Chinks, Isis, and Neek. My least valuable cabaret ladies were Andrea, Dani, Erica, and T-Love. And my least valuable newbies were Kiara and Love. Now, you could also put Kaniyah up here with the most valuable newbies, Sky, Kaniyah, and Jane Doe. But like I said, I wasn't really feeling none of them. And Sky and Jane Doe really didn't do much this episode, which is why I gave them the most valuable. Kaniyah was valuable to the episode, but like I said, there was things that she did that I liked, but then there was things that she did that threw me off, which is why I didn't put her in the picture. But okay, guys, that's my Joseline's Cabaret California episode 8 review/recap. If you're watching me on TikTok, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I'll see y'all soon, hopefully today or tomorrow, for episode 9 and Baddies Africa episode 21. So then we can be caught up for next week's episodes. All right, bye.